Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the OSL round of 16 matchup between Savior and Best. Both of these players have lost their first game, Savior to Jaedong and Best to C. So this is really a must-win matchup for both players. Savior starting out at the 3 o'clock position. This is Katrina, and Best at the 12 o'clock position. Best obviously a Protoss player from SK Team 1, who I don't really know that much about, but he's a decent player, alright. Before I really get on and get into the mix of this commentary, I just want to point out to some of you guys who might only be subscribed to my VODs and watch them through that on YouTube, that I do have a number of commentaries that I've been posting recently on Voiletac's page, Voiletac's YouTube page, since he has access to longer than 10-minute video posts, and those can be accessed by clicking on his link in my subscribers box just on my main YouTube page. So I do still post obviously here on my own account as well, but sometimes when I can't be bothered splitting commentaries, I post them to Voiletac's. Obviously this one I will be splitting on and posting on an account. Okay, that out of the way. Savior scouting in the correct direction with his Overlord to begin with, and that probe coming down through the ramp of Best's base is going to see that Overlord, so he's obviously going to know immediately where Savior's base is, though it probably looked like he was intending on scouting in that direction anyway. So you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Savior can produce here. This is do or die time for him. This is where a champion's true qualities really tell, and even though Best isn't the most formidable of opponents, and traditionally Protoss players would have, and Savior is sending his drone out as well, just as his Overlord happens upon his opponent's base, and now I'm interested to see that he's still sending that drone. It looks like he might be actually taking an expansion there, just outside of his base, and this is a little bit unusual play by Savior. Normally you would expect the Zerg expansion to go up at their natural expo on a map like Katrina, and it's very unusual for Savior to put his expansion out there. I wonder what the reasoning behind it is. Perhaps he's hoping that his opponent won't scout that expansion and therefore not be sure of his strategy. If that was his hope, that's been defeated, because Best's probe has gone back and has now seen that hatchery. So I just don't understand what Savior's trying to. Now he sent a drone down towards the 5 o'clock position. Best meanwhile has fast expanded as well. Interesting enough. So Katrina is a map that you're used to seeing players fast expand on. So Best is fast expanded. Savior's putting his spawning pool down straight away after his first hatchery. So I'm interested to see what sort of strategy Savior's going for. He sent that drone down first of all towards the 5 o'clock position, and now he's pulled it back and is sending it towards Best base. I think Savior's probably realized, having with his Overlord, that Best hasn't gone for that gateway straight of all, and maybe that's why he's put that spawning pool down first. And looks like Savior's going to try and proxy hatch on Best. He'd sent that the drone down towards the 5 o'clock position, and now he's pulled it in, and I think he's just waiting for for resources to come through to actually proxy hatch Best. Best has gone for the forge, and Savior, realizing that Best does not have a gateway, is going to proxy hatch him, and this is brilliant by Savior. This is just the kind of thing I hope to see, and gets me really excited when watching games of players of Savior's caliber. No one else, no other Zerg player that I can think of has the guts and the sheer just audacity to go for something crazy like this. And now Best has started that gateway. I still think Best is not aware. Just looking at that minimap, there is something floating over there. I think it's another of Savior's Overlords, but I don't think Best is aware of what Savior's doing. Savior needs to move his Overlord now, because that photon kind of starting to go up for Best. So Best being kept busy, and I guess I can see perhaps maybe the reason behind that hatchery. Now maybe Savior has designed this build specifically to counter the Protoss fast expand by putting that hatchery there, because the reason I would say he went for that hatchery outside of his main, just outside his main at the middle right of the map around the 3 o'clock position, is because it allows it has a shorter distance from that hatchery to his proxy hatchery, and what that means therefore is that he can then reinforce his main force at the front line quicker, not only from his main but also from his proxy hatchery. Had he gone for a natural expo, that would obviously make it more difficult. So I expect Savior to go for mainly a Hydralisk build here, considering he's proxy hatched, and to just box his opponent in, starve him. And I think it's a brilliant strategy by Savior, and I think it could work out well for him. We've seen him adopt this strategy on Bluestorm where it paid out for him against Bisu. The question is whether he'll be able to pull it off here against his opponent here on Katrina. I do feel it might be a little bit harder on Katrina. That being said, Protoss players are often comfortable just sitting in their natural expo, getting that Corsair Revo combo going. So with that in mind, it might be a little bit more difficult for Savior to defend. I guess the fact that he's got that proxy hatchery, that he can put a sunken down there, will prevent his. And finally, Best has now seen that proxy hatchery with his probe coming back. So Best has seen the proxy. I guess the fact that he's got his hatchery there and he puts sunken down will mean that Best cannot really send ground forces out, cannot get those Dark Templar through by way of ground, and so therefore Savior can bunch his forces up at that proxy hatchery. But of course, that's not going to take account of Best's air once it gets going. Scourges and shuttles and Corsairs. So I'm interested to see how Saber's going to cope with that. Best has started his Stargate up, and it'll be interesting to see what Best's response is to Saber's strategy here. Obviously, he rises with the 3 Hashi build, and Saber now coming forward with a handful of Zerglings, just keen to keep Best in his base. He's taken out that scouting probe of Best, so now that he's denying Best further scouting information. Saber has indeed gone for a high list, and as I anticipated he would do, he's not even morphed to lair yet. I haven't seen any of his Hashis morphing to lair, unless the one just outside of his main is morphing. Best has got that Stargate complete, so Saber's going to have high list, so he's not going to be too worried about that. Best with the Dragoon just venturing out, trying to pick off a Zergling. He managed to pick up a single Zergling. He's trying to draw those Zerglings into the range of those photon cannons, and you can see Best is positioning of his robotics facility is right next to that pylon and those photon cannons as well. And I think the purpose of that is so that he's not going to build so that he can get a Reaver out straight away. I think we're going to see him go for a robotic support base straight away and actually build a Reaver before he builds a shuttle, because he fears Saber coming with a Hydralisk push here, and he's anticipating that Saber is going to be coming with a Hydralisk push, and that's exactly what Saber is going to be doing. So Best, in anticipation of that, is going to get his robotic support bay up, I suspect, straight away, and get and once again Best wandering out with the Dragoon, trying to lure those Zerglings into his range of fire. But Saber's got his Hydralisk and Zerglings coming in now, so Saber's going to try and push forward here, and Saber committing himself to this attack. I don't think he's going to be able to break Best's defenses here. One of the photon cannons coming under fire with the Hydralisk. One of the photon cannons goes down. That's clever by Saber. He's taking out that photon cannon, so now he can actually attack Best's single gateway from out of range of any defensive photon cannons. Best bringing the second photon cannon, but that gateway is probably going to get taken out beforehand. So this is why Best needs to get that Reaver out straight away. And Saber is obviously trying, and I think taking out this gateway is going to be critical here, because it's going to prevent Best from producing any more ground forces, and that's going to hurt him big time. Best now with the lone Corsair trying to harass Saber's overlord, forcing him to keep but a single or a handful of Hydras is more than enough to deal with that, and Best just plunging in those photon cannons. So really Best feels if he can survive this short game, the short attack that's coming from Saber this early on, that he might be able to come out later on, because Saber obviously has invested himself into a Hydralisk attack. He's still not got a lair. He doesn't look like he's interested in lair. He's investing all of his resources in the Hydralisk, which suggests that if he fails in this attack, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. And that robotic support phase is already complete. That Reaver is going to be popping out at any time now, and once that Reaver is out, it's going to be impossible for Saber to actually break this defense with his Hydralisk. Saber now committing himself to the attack. Best has got loads of photon cannons in. He doesn't have too many Zerglings to take damage for his Hydralisk. He's going to be forced. Best is forced to pull his probes out. Saber trying to focus on the photon cannons, but there's just too many, and Saber's forced to pull back with his Hydralisk. He cleverly picks off a handful of probes. So this is clever by Saber, luring the probes out with his Hydralisk and then picking them off. Great micro by Saber, but nevertheless, micro or non-great micro, he is still not able to break that defense. And now that Reaver is out, and that Reaver is sitting behind a line of about 7 or 8 photon cannons, and it's going to be incredibly difficult. So Best, once he started that proxy hatch, he knew what was coming and adapted his strategy accordingly, and it was a good strategy by him, to say the least. He's now got a Citadel of Aden building, but I think Saber's not going to be too worried about Dark Templar unless Best can get a shuttle going. Best now building another gateway, so he's got that Reaver blocked in. That's well defended. Saber's not going to be able to break this defense now, so this is going to push the game in longer. Best has certainly survived that.